You've probably heard the word Git, right? If you've touched anything related to modern software, it's everywhere. It's kind of like the invisible engine behind millions of projects, from your favorite app on your phone to the entire Linux operating system. But what is it really? So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify the tool that quietly changed how we build, well, pretty much everything.
To really get Git, we have to first understand the problem it was designed to solve. And trust me, it's a huge one. Just imagine hundreds of people scattered all over the world, all trying to work on the exact same app at the exact same time. How do you keep them from constantly overwriting each other's code? How do you keep track of who changed what and when they did it? How do you prevent just absolute total chaos?
Well, the answer is a kind of software called a version control system, or a VCS. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a time machine for your project. Seriously. It records every single change made to every single file so you can rewind to any point in time. It's the ultimate safety net and the absolute bedrock of modern teamwork.
Now, you should know, not all version control systems are created equal. Before Git came along, the main way of doing things, well, it worked a bit like an old kingdom, with a single central castle that held all the power.
This model is called a centralized version control system. Just picture that one single server as the castle. It holds the one true copy of the entire project. So if you want to work on something, you have to check out a file from that central server, kind of like borrowing the one and only copy of a book from a giant library. It works because everyone knows what everyone else is up to by checking with that central hub.
But you can probably see the huge problem here, right? What happens if that server goes down? If the castle falls, everything grinds to a halt. Nobody can save their work, nobody can collaborate. And even worse, what if that server's hard drive gets corrupted and the backups aren't perfect? You could lose the entire history of the project. Poof, gone forever. This single point of failure is a massive, massive risk.
So that critical weakness, it really set the stage for a revolution in thinking. A whole new paradigm that took the power away from that single castle and put it into the hands of every single developer. And this is exactly the problem Git was created to solve. It was born out of pure necessity back in 2005. The massive Linux kernel project needed a better way to work together. So its creator, the legendary Linus Torvalds, he just decided to build a brand new tool from scratch. One built for speed, for data integrity, and for a completely distributed way of working.
And this brings us to the absolute core of what makes Git different. It's a distributed version control system, or DVCS. With Git, when you start working on a project, you don't just grab the latest files. No. You get a full, complete mirror of the entire project history. Every change, every version, every saved moment from day one, it's all right there on your own computer. Just let that quote sink in for a second. If every single developer has a full copy of the project, it means that every person's computer is also a complete backup. So if the main server you're using gets, hit by a meteor, it's not a catastrophe. Any developer on the team can just copy their local version back up and almost nothing is lost. That single point of failure, it's just gone.
So let's put them side by side. With the old centralized way, that main server is a ticking time bomb, and you have to be online to do pretty much anything. But with Git's distributed model, backups are literally everywhere, and you can do most of your work completely offline. You could be on a plane, committing changes and looking through the project's history, all because you have the whole shebang right there on your laptop.
But look, being disaster-proof isn't the only reason Git took over the world. It has this superpower, a feature so powerful, so transformative, that it fundamentally rewired how developers think about their work.
As the official pro-Git book says, branching is Git's killer feature. It's the one thing that really, truly sets it apart from everything that came before. So, what is this magic?
Okay, so branching is like creating a safe, parallel universe for your project. You can split off from the main, stable version of your code, that's called the main line. So you can work on a new feature or try out some crazy idea. And you can do all of this in a totally safe sandbox, with zero risk of breaking the code that actually works.
And the workflow is just brilliantly simple. First, you create a branch, which instantly makes that safe, parallel copy. Second, you do all your work there, completely isolated from everyone else. And third, once your new feature is working perfectly, you merge it back into the main line, seamlessly weaving your changes back into the project.
Now, in older systems, making a branch was this heavy, slow, complicated process. But in Git, it's nearly instant. And the effect of that is huge. It encourages developers to use branches for everything. even the tiniest changes. It's totally common to create a branch, do some work, merge it, and delete the branch all in a matter of minutes.
So when you combine this incredibly resilient distributed model with the superpower of lightweight branching, what do you get? You get a tool that didn't just improve software development, it completely transformed it from the ground up.
This quote from a contributor to the Pro Git book just nails the feeling. For developers, using Git provided a workflow that just felt more natural. It gave them the freedom to experiment fearlessly and to collaborate on a massive scale, without all the friction and risk of the older systems. And the adoption rate was just staggering. GitHub, the service built entirely around Git, saw this explosive growth. By the time the second edition of the Pro Git book was written, guess how many projects it was hosting? 10 million. Today, that number is in the hundreds of millions. Git isn't just a tool anymore, it's the undisputed standard.
Okay, so let's boil it all down. What's the bottom line? First, Git's distributed model made developing software way safer by getting rid of that single point of failure. Second, its killer feature, lightweight branching, unleashed fearless experimentation. And third, when you put them together, they created the foundation for collaboration that lets huge global teams build the software that we all depend on every single day.
You see, Git wasn't just an improvement. It was a revolution that fundamentally reshaped our digital world by changing how its creators work together. And it makes you wonder, right? What's going to be the next tool, the next big idea that comes along and changes everything all over again?